Hi, this is Dave Johnson, and I'd like to share some ideas that I believe could make your life better. And the fact that we're visiting together, we're probably involved in business together, but hopefully I can just be of value to you. And, so much of who we are is just up in here. This is where we live, and we want to take care of that, our mind. And our mind is what it feeds upon, and we want to give it good, high nutrition content. And I think this is just one of the most powerful things, is that we do become what we think about, and we can direct our lives by directing our thoughts. And I love this phrase, and I've taken it from someone else, that some of my best thinking has already been done by someone else. We do become what we think about, but we can select what we think about. And if we get good thoughts and study that, those thoughts become ours. They become more permanent and deeper ingrained into our brain. And one of the most wonderful ideas was from Charles Tremendous Jones. That's where he kind of originated this idea that where you will be in 5 years depends upon the books you read, the people you associate with, what you listen to, essentially what you're feeding yourself. And so one of the most wonderful things that you can do is select the environment that's optimum to your desired goals and things. Charles, he talked about where you're going to be and books and all of that thing, but he also has this really fun thought. I've heard him speak, and he says, if you want to be a winner, hang around winners. This is a really powerful thing. If you want to be a better thinker, he said, hang around better thinkers. And if you want to be a better griping, complaining bonehead, hang around griping, complaining boneheads. and I'd like to just share some ideas that I was reflecting on this. I love feeding my mind with some of the best people. And Dave Ramsey has this Entre Leadership podcast and has all of these guests. And some of those are so good that I actually stop a moment and transcribe. And I was looking back through something here, and I think this is just so good. Let me see if I can. Yeah, here we go. Okay, and I wish I wrote the name down, but I just wrote down the thoughts. And so I want to share them with you, though. So as a leader, everything stops when you stop. Wow, that's a wonderful responsibility, leadership. When you're around other people, Jim Rohn talks about this powerful idea that you are the average of the 5 people you associate most with. Well, don't stop. Don't hang around people that are stopped. And if you take on that responsibility, wow, this is really neat, that we grow in response to another human being. We grow when influenced by someone who cares. And if you look at a human being, what does flourishing look like? Isn't that a wonderful word? What does flourishing look like? What does thriving look like? It is a communal pursuit. Flourishing happens in relation to other people. Now, he talked about this idea of what's the opposite to flourishing, and he said it's loneliness. And if you really think about, as far as what we're born with, as far as fears, one of them is falling, and one is just being left alone. If you're a little kid and all of a sudden they discover where is everybody, they'll mommy or something like that, and that's something that I think is really a thought right there, that so much of happiness and everything, success, it involves other people, and successful people, I think, is just entirely proportioned to the width and depth of our relationships. And he goes on in this podcast, and he's talking, and he mentions homeless people, and he brings out this thought that is pretty profound. As an example, sometimes the conversation has come up, and well, as we get older, what's going to happen? And Valerie, we've got 11 kids, and they all say, well, if something happens, you'll never be alone. You can come and live with us. And so he talks about homeless people. It's more accurate that the average person, if they lost it all, they would still find some place to sleep that night. And so someone that's actually homeless is more accurate friendless. And that's not a very happy thought to be friendless. There's something so wonderful just about having a good friendship. And so going along with this idea of flourishing and just a web of friendships is what keeps us all afloat. Practices of the best leader. And I think this is something I think is really powerful and something that I've enjoyed pretty much on my business journey, and certainly business is relationships. Business is people. And just bluntly, if you don't understand people, you don't understand business, because that's what business is. If there were no people, you could not have a business. And so here's the cool thing about building a big business. The one rule, and he calls it a ritual rule, and he says that the effective leaders, they just stick with other people. They do frequent light coaching conversations with their people. Each person who reports directly to them every week, one-on-ones, not group meetings, asking what are your priorities, what's important. More what it is not this to-do list or how I can help. Just something beautiful about having a conversation at least every week. You're paying attention to that person in the context of their work, but this is really neat. One of the other things that I wrote down on his ideas was that a year is not a marathon. It's a whole bunch of daily sprints. And so just that's how you make a successful life, is just each day one at a time. But I've prepared some slides, and let me see if I can share my screen. And slides, where art thou? Okay, I love Norman Vincent Peale. He's written several books. The most famous is The Power of Positive Thinking. But, you know, so much of everything is our perception of ourselves. And he says the trouble with many people is that they got through life thinking and writing themselves off as ordinary, commonplace persons. And when I hear the word ordinary, what comes up in your mind? If you're going to go out on a date, would you say, hey, is there any ordinary movies on? Or if you're going to go someplace to eat, you go into the restaurant and say, oh, I just like something ordinary. No, we don't want to do that. Now, one of the things I think is so important is also when I hear ordinary and common, that's in a sense what all of us are. What changes to make us extraordinary? And I love the idea of making a business super successful is just making it systemized, or a recipe that people can follow and duplicate. And all of a sudden, that's what a big business turns into, with just the intention, beginning a business with the idea of duplicating it and making it big by allowing anybody to follow the recipe. And so many people that are super successful and happy and everything else, you could say they're common people doing common things, but they're doing them uncommonly well. But really important, consistently over time. They identify the aspects that are essential to make it work, and they get really, really good at maybe common things. If you came to my house on any particular day and watched what I do, you probably would walk away, oh, he's a nice guy, but totally unimpressed. Because I'm just talking to people on the phone. Anybody can do that, but I do that, and I talk about specific things, and I do it day after day after day because it's fun, but also it's effective. In my mind, I'm thinking I must do the most productive thing possible at every given moment. What is that? Well, it's talking to people, sharing an idea, and if you do that again and again, it might appear ordinary, but it becomes extraordinary in the results. But so much of it really is just your attitude of mind. And some of the most wonderful, amazing people with extraordinary ability. There might be some talent, but so many things. It's just working really hard. In fact, let me go back to my book here. I can remember something if I can find it. I should have had this marked, but I think this is okay. Okay, here it is. This is Alexander Hamilton. So Alexander Hamilton says, men give me some credit for genius, but all the genius I have lies in this. When I have a subject in mind, I study it profoundly, day and night. It is before me. I explore it in all its bearings. My mind becomes persuaded or pervaded with it. The result is what some people call the fruits of genius, whereas it is in reality the fruits of study and labor. Wow. Growth is induced by just steady, continuous, step by step, little things, a whole bunch of sprints to make that marathon. Anyway, I think that's something worth considering. Okay, our mind. We want to really feed our mind, and again, that's where we live. Where your mind goes, your life follows. And I think one of the most wonderful ideas is to have a mindset. And this is a quote I took from Psychology Today. They have some really wonderful posts about what makes the mind work. And your mindset is a set of beliefs that shape how you make sense of the world and yourself. It influences how you think, feel, and behave in any given situation. A good mindset provides you with meaning and purpose. It ultimately orients who you are and who you can become. Wow. Again, this is just so foundational. Also, a thing that's amazing, and I would say profoundly scary too. I see people growing up with a particular mindset, and maybe they go to college, and in the course of just hanging around with some other peers, the professor or whatever, it can dramatically change. So this is one of the most powerful aspects of mindsets, is how quickly they can be shifted and how powerful the consequences can be. So make sure it's serving you well, your mindset, and if it's worked really well, don't maybe experiment with somebody that has a mindset that, well, unless they're where you want to be, then that would be a good thing. So look at the fruits of what somebody's doing, and that's really, really important. Essentially, I think the big thing is successful people, they're long-range thinkers. What's the ultimate mission of your life? What do you want to be in your life? I love this thought, where you're going to be in 5 years is determined by, what you're reading and all of these different things. Well, if you could go 5 years into the future, what would you look at as your ultimate position? Where would you like to be 5 years from now? What would you like to be doing? Where would you like to live? Maybe what kind of car you're driving, but what's your family? What's your health? All of these aspects. If you really have it clearly in your mind, you're thousands of times more likely to hit that than if you're just wandering around in your mind. Just really, really critical here. And so have some ideas. I think one of the big things on mindset is, who are you actually? I think on a real fundamental level, are we here just as an accident in the universe, or is there real ultimate purpose? Did we come from somewhere? Are we going somewhere? I love a statement that Earl Nightingale talked about, is the architect of the universe didn't build a stairway leading nowhere. And this is a book. It's let's see, Our Work as It Is in Heaven. That's a kind of a fun thing, but there's a thought that I just love here, that what if God really cared about your work? The thought that God is really with you and helping you, to think he actually works through you and your job. I think that's a really powerful mindset. And this is, I think, something really great right here. Really great men have a curious feeling that their greatness is not in them, but through them. John Ruskin said that. Wow. Now, here's something I think is really important. I was listening to a cassette tape with Brian Tracy, and this is something that just really hit me, that intense belief. There's a direct correlation between the depth of your belief and what happens in your reality. And this is so important, that what you're doing, you have to just have an absolute belief in the rightness and the goodness of what you're doing. If you really have this belief that what you're doing is the right thing to do, that just the inherent goodness of it, then you will succeed. Norman Vincent Peale, in his book, I believe this is my very favorite paragraph in all of it. And think about this. One of the most powerful concepts, one which is a sure cure for lack of confidence, is the thought that God is actually with you and helping you. This is one of the simplest teachings in religion, namely that Almighty God will be your companion, will stand by you, help you, and see you through. No other idea is so powerful in developing self-confidence as this simple belief when practiced. And to practice it, simply affirm, God is with me. God is helping me. God is guiding me. Spend several minutes each day visualizing his presence, and then practice believing that affirmation. Go about your business on the assumption that what you have affirmed and visualized is true. Affirm it, visualize it, believe it, and it will actualize itself. And the release of power with this procedure stimulates. What it does, it will astonish you. Powerful. And going back to that book, okay, he pretty much says the same thing, but if you are actually believing this, you're affirming it, that I am fully collaborating with God in the life he has given me. My gifts, my passions, my ambitions, my ideas, my creativity, my love, even my doubts and struggles, and the ability to associate spiritually with our daily labor, to think that God actually works through you in your job. And this may be as simple as being kind to the next person you speak to on the phone, or as dramatic as totally restructuring your company around a fresh vision, one that better engages people with the good your company offers to the world. And I'm especially excited about this opportunity of being with a company that's only months old. We're gathering people together, and we're creating our own culture. We're looking for people that have high value, that appreciate life-changing, powerful products, and want to change the world. And by so doing, you get to actually affect the growth of our company as it takes on a personality and life of its own. And you can be a part of that. Wow, what a wonderful way to live your life. And so we're looking for good people. I believe that's a really critical thing. But in what I want to talk about here is just some ideas to become the right person. But that's essentially how we attract the right people, is by becoming the right person. And with this wonderful line of products that we have, this wonderful business, I've heard it said, and I just love this idea that what we really are is a personal development company, that the ultimate product is human beings and helping them realize their potential greatness. And we sell these fantastic products to fund it. But the real product is you, helping you become better and more influential. And I love this idea of where we all we can't help ourselves. We have an influence on other people. Hopefully it's mostly good. but sociologists estimate that everybody, even the most introverted person, will affect thousands of lives throughout their lifetime. But what if you were in a company where that was the prime directive, so to speak, where we had products and a compensation plan and a personal development program we're putting all together, where we're teaching people to find 3 really good people and teaching them to do the same, where you have this multiplying effect where you can influence just really realistically thousands of people in the course of a few years by bringing them on our team. And then with customers and people and wonderful product, the world will become way better because of you. Isn't that fun? Okay, how you do anything is how we do everything. We just want to become better people. And so this is critical. Now, Napoleon Hill says in his studies of lots and lots of people that it's desire. That's the starting point of all achievement. If you want something enough, Rudyard Kipling said that if you really, really want something and you don't get it, you either didn't really want it or you tried to bargain over the price. So just really have this desire. Keep this constantly in your mind. And he says that weak desire brings weak results, just as a small fire makes a small amount of heat. So get a white hot burning fire in the belly. When I first met Larry Prophet over 30 years ago, I'd always been interested in this idea of leadership. John Maxwell, he's famous for saying leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Well, I think there's got to be something a little bit more, and this is certainly more eloquent, that leadership is the enthusiastic communication of your vision. Wow, nothing great was accomplished without enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is like a ripple of water. Wow, it just ripples and moves out, it spreads. And Winston Churchill, this is such a powerful thing. He changed the world. And he was a powerful influencer, and he was able to swamp other people with his emotion. They bought in on his beliefs. And so this is what he said: before you can inspire with emotion, you must be swamped with it yourself. Before you can move their tears, your own must flow. To convince them, you must yourself believe. And when I was looking that up, so I could just paste it here, it made this comment. It says, don't keep these words only in your device. Take these into the real life. I thought that was good counsel, because this is such a big, big thing. Leaders, good leaders, they do light people on fire. They have an enthusiastic communication of big vision that people buy into. Okay, I've got the book, The Power of Positive Thinking, in my phone. It's actually recorded by the author himself, Norman Vincent Peale. I love his voice. And when I listen to this, I can hear Norman Vincent Peale speaking this. And he says, be on fire for something. Pour yourself out, and you will never lose energy and vitality in so doing. You only lose energy when life becomes dull in your mind. Your mind gets bored and therefore tired, doing nothing. You don't have to be tired. Get interested in something. Get absolutely enthralled in something. Throw yourself into it with abandon. Get out of yourself. Be somebody. Do something. Don't sit around moaning about things. The man who is doing something isn't tired. If you're not getting into good causes, no wonder you're tired. You're disintegrating. You're deteriorating. You're dying on the vine. The more you lose yourself in something bigger than yourself, the more energy you will have. Isn't that true? Zig Ziglar, he said something that really stuck in my mind. He says, there isn't such a thing as a lazy person. They're only uninspired. And think about that. One of my thoughts is meeting somebody and their whole conversation makes you tired. They'll say things like, well, don't work too hard. They'll greet someone else and say, well, take it easy. Oh, I can't wait till Friday. I just those are not good affirmations. And yet that very same person, maybe hunting season comes out, and the same person that's just dragging their feet, they got their alarm for 4 in the morning. They've got all their gear all out and ready from the night before. They get up and drive up into the mountains and traipse all over, and just all enthused and just working, expending calories and hustling because they love what they're doing right there. So find something that you love that you can get on fire for, and throw yourself into abandon. That will give you a good life. I tell people getting into this business that we're involved in, it actually can mess up your mind, because I honestly don't know whether I'm working or playing. It's the same thing. Warren Buffett, I love what he says. Every morning he gets up and he tap dances on the way to work. He doesn't need the money. Okay, so all of this, what if you could train your mind? How do you do that? Well, what if you read 10 pages, made that a commitment, read at least 10 pages every day? Well, that'd be kind of like making the commitment to go to the gym every day. If you have not been going to the gym and all of a sudden you decide, I'm going to go and I'm going to spend at least 30 minutes, maybe an hour every day, in a month or two, could you be able to tell the difference? Of course. And if you begin your mind training program, some people have flabby muscles, some people have flabby minds. It needs to be exercised. Don't let your mind atrophy. And so read, study, learn new things. It's amazing. And so these are some essential qualities, I believe, of a leader. Again, the starting point of all achievement is desire. Have a burning desire. Get some fire in your belly. People look for, as you're building your team and looking for good leaders, look for somebody that's ambitious and hungry. Also, one of the greatest shortcuts to success is have a mentor. Find what you want to do, and then look for people that are already where you're at. And I love this business because you have upline, you have people that are already successful in this, and they will coach you. They'll train you, and that's ongoing, and it's for free. All you have to do is call them and talk to them. And so think about that. So you got to be coachable, have a mentor, and work with someone that's where you want to be. That's how you pick your mentor. Is I want to be where you are. Show me what you did to get there. And if you do the same things that they're doing, you'll get the same results. We live in this wonderful cause and effect world. And just plain gumption. Isn't that a wonderful word? And you need to become self-motivated as much as you can. Develop it within, because after you've talked to somebody, your coach or your mentor, then you got to be willing to work hard, unsupervised. One of the wonderful things about this business is you can be your own boss, but you've got to be a hard one. You can't just think, oh, I don't have a boss anymore. I can just do anything I want. No, you've got to develop the discipline and the mindset that saying, this is what I need to do. And you might not want to, but you just do it anyway. And so just willing to work really hard. Successful people work hard. Average just doesn't pay very well. So do this. I've heard this, and it's really true if you think about it. The Avini is the highest paid hard work and the easiest low paid work. And in fact, if you don't do anything, we won't pay anything, but you can actually be on. You won't get fired. You can stay on and become a distributor, not do anything, and make nothing at all. So there's no income floor. But on the other hand, work really hard over time, and the opportunity is limitless. A part of that is the last one, understanding delayed gratification. Successful people are always long range in their thinking. So long term. Learning to focus. I love the acronym FOCUS, follow one course until success. And this is something I was reading, and I believe this is probably one of the most important things, focus. clarity. The number one skill for you to acquire is learning to control your attention. All around us, there's people that design social media to addict you, to pull you in, and just doing little things, sending off little endorphins, little pops of this and that, like, or whatever. It's designed to addict you and pull you in, waste your time, coming into your brain and renting space in your head. Ward off distraction at every turn and stay focused on what's really important to you. Our brains adapt to media overload. So we're training ourselves when we watch all of this stuff to become unfocused. Along that line, a lot of people say, I am multitasked. I can do that. I can do several things. And well, they've done studies and they found that those people supposedly that are doing that, they're training their brains to be unfocused, and they're not as productive as if they just picked one thing and focused on that. And so we're actually teaching everyone to be ADD. And so willpower, that's something that you can develop, trained and equally important, maintained. I love the idea of success as ready, fire, aim, rather than ready, aim, fire. If you wait till everything's ready, till everything's in place, you'll never get started. But also just kind of think about this. If you want to get somewhere, you have to know where you want to go and how. Well, we can do that. But then so much is just keep doing it and never give up. And so John Maxwell talks about this idea that, action. Ultimately, that's the foundation. It's a key to all success is action. Now, so going back to John Maxwell, he talks about this idea that feelings, if you can get the right feelings, you'll get into action. But he states that it's much easier, more realistic to act your way into feeling rather than feeling your way into acting. So that's a big thing here. And I want to just share another thought. I was going through some of my notes here, and let's see. Okay, this is from Winning 101 by Van Crouch. It says that, an aspiring young writer once made an appointment to interview a well-known author. And the author asked him, why do you want to see me? And the young man responded, well, I'm a writer too. And I was hoping you could share with me some of the keys to your success. Well, what have you written? The author asked. Well, nothing, said the young man, at least nothing that is finished. The writer rose from his chair and then asked, well, if you haven't written anything, what are you writing? Well, I'm in school right now, so I'm hoping to find some time to write down some ideas. Well, the author began to walk slowly toward the door, asking one final question as he showed the young man out. Why do you call yourself a writer if you aren't writing? Wow, that's a big question. And when the young man gave no answer, the author said to him, writers write, and composers compose, workers work. And wow. So he said this, what you do to a great extent defines what you become. And in turn, what you are gives, what you are gives rise to what you do. And when what you do externally matches what you are internally, greatness will not be denied. And so workers work and doers do. Let's do this. So anyway, I'm glad you could join me on this call. I hope you found it worthwhile. Take care, and we'll see you at the top.